Lucy scribbles in her diary, filled with a wonderful new peace and hope, all thanks to Dr. Van Helsing's special treatment. He even put interesting garlic flowers all around her room. Oh, what a cozy feeling washes over her, and she can finally sleep without a single bit of fear. A huge change from all those scary, sleepless nights. The garlic, surprisingly, smells absolutely delightful, and she feels a gentle, peaceful sleep just about to take her away. Dr. Seward and Professor Van Helsing arrived at Hillingham's, and who should greet them but Mrs. Westenra herself. She was absolutely beaming, telling them Lucy was sleeping so soundly. Mrs. Westenra proudly explained, "I even helped. I took away those horrible, strong-smelling flowers and opened the window to air out that stuffy room." But Professor Van Helsing's face went utterly pale as he instantly grasped the truly terrible implications of her actions. After Mrs. Westenra left, Professor Van Helsing suddenly collapsed in the dining room, his heart heavy with despair. All his careful plans had been undone without anyone even knowing. He cried out about the scary powers of the devils they faced, but then, snap! He stood tall again, declaring they would never give up. They would fight. With a determined look, he grabbed his special bag to go help poor Lucy. Dr. Seward and Professor Van Helsing rush to Lucy's room, where Van Helsing sees his worst fears confirmed. He tells Dr. Seward, who is already so tired, to perform another blood transfusion, and Van Helsing bravely provides his own blood. And just like that, Lucy's cheeks get their color back, and she falls into a deep, healthy sleep, while Van Helsing, completely worn out, finally gets to rest too. Professor Van Helsing made it super clear to Mrs. Westenra absolutely nothing was to leave Lucy's room without his say-so. He even stressed the amazing special power of those flowers. Then, he bravely took charge of Lucy's care himself. He planned to keep a watchful eye over her for the next 2 whole nights, promising to send word to Seward when it was time to return. Wow, days later, Lucy writes in her diary, feeling so much better. She's recovering beautifully, full of peace and strength. All those terrifying nightmares and spooky sounds that haunted her, they're completely gone. She's even grown fond of the garlic and feels brave enough to be left alone, even as Dr. Van Helsing gets ready to leave for Amsterdam after staying in her room to watch over her. A reporter from the Pall Mall Gazette arrived at Thomas Builder's home, eager to ask the wolf keeper and his wife all about Berserker, a wolf who had mysteriously escaped. Over tea, Thomas Builder told them a truly strange tale. A tall, peculiar man with glowing red eyes and a pointy beard had appeared, making the wolves incredibly agitated and even stroking Berserker's ears. And then, later that very night, Berserker simply vanished. Just as the interviewer prepared to leave, bam! The escaped wolf, Berserker, suddenly appeared right at the cottage window. Thomas Builder, completely unfazed, simply opened the door and let the big wolf inside, gently checking its scrapes from climbing a wall. This wicked wolf was welcomed and petted like a long-lost son, before being calmly locked back into its cage again. Dr. Seward's quiet study was suddenly shattered. R.M. Renfield burst right in, absolutely furious, clutching a dinner knife. Renfield lunged, attacking Dr. Seward and slicing his wrist, but Dr. Seward, quick as a flash, managed to overpower him. And then, something truly chilling happened. Renfield dropped to the floor and began to lick up the spilled blood, whispering over and over, "The blood is the life!" Oh, Dr. Seward was utterly worn out. Between Lucy's terrible illness and that recent scary attack, all he wanted was some much-needed rest. But then, an urgent telegram from Professor Van Helsing finally reached him, though it was terribly delayed. The message commanded him to be at Hillingham that very night and make sure the special flowers were in place. Dr. Seward's heart sank, realizing with dismay just how much crucial time had slipped away. Feeling quite weak, Lucy began to jot down the night's strange events. Suddenly, a flapping sound at her window and a truly frightening howl startled her awake. Even though she was so scared, Lucy fought to keep her eyes open, whispering for help, but no one answered back. She didn't want to wake her poor mother, so Lucy gently shut her door once more. Mrs. Westenra, feeling a little worried about Lucy, slips into her room and climbs right into bed beside her. But as they lie there, whoosh! That strange flapping and buffeting at the window starts all over again, making Mrs. Westenra jump with affright. Lucy tries her best to calm her mom down, and soon Mrs. Westenra lies still. But oh dear, her heart is still going, thump, 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 like crazy. Suddenly, a low, eerie howl echoes, and then crash! A huge, gaunt gray wolf bursts right through the window. Mrs. Westenra, terrified, rips the special garlic wreath from Lucy's neck. But then, oh no, she just collapses, gone in an instant. Poor Lucy is left feeling so dizzy, overwhelmed by countless tiny specks swirling into the room, as if a strange spell is taking hold. The maids are suddenly jolted awake by a loud commotion. They hurry into Lucy's room, and then they scream when they discover Mrs. Westenra's still body. Lucy, even though she feels so dizzy, tries to be incredibly brave. She quickly tells them to go get wine from the dining room, and then, with such gentle care, she places flowers on her mother's chest, just as Van Helsing had wisely instructed her. Lucy hurried to the dining room to check on the maids, but oh, what a sight awaited her. All four were drugged and completely unconscious, with an empty laudanum bottle lying right nearby. Suddenly, Lucy realized she was utterly alone, with her dear mother gone, and a scary wolf howling just outside. Overwhelmed by a terrible weakness and a shiver of fear, she stumbled back to her room. There, she wrote her final goodbyes, believing her own time was almost up.